Hafeez-ur-rahman. How to insert data from Java application program into databases, table in database. For this we will create a form. We will insert within the same user table, users table. So JFrame form, a form with the name user form, user form. Form name is user form. What we have to do, we have to create one field for username, one field for password, and a button to create the user ID and login. Here we have to create a text field and a password field. Remove the text from the user's text field, from the password field, give it a name, txt underscore username, and because we will need the values of text field, username and password later on to insert the data into our database, and txt underscore password here, username, and this label change its value to password, and this one we want to create a user, so create. You can give it a look like enclose, select all these, and right click on anyone and enclose in panel. We can give a border to the panel. We can give like titled border. The title is create user, and the color of the border, let's suppose that is blue. Okay, and the font, we can change the font as well, bold, italic, 14, 18. Okay. The form the sangakhkari execute ko run this file. If we run this file, we will see the form like this: create user, username and password. So when we enter the username and password and create, so it will be the username and password will be inserted into the users table in the database. So now we have to code behind this create button. So events, action performed. So masla hunishta kana. Now at the time of loading the form, we want to connect to the database. Agida para munga suku. Ida para munga your file. We need the file import java.sql.star, and as an instance variable we will create connection con equals to none, and prepared statement est equals to none. And because we want to insert, we do not want to retrieve data from the database, so we do not need the result set object. And here in the constructor of this form, when we want to create this, load this form, create this form, so the connection with the database must be established. So for this we will use the class connection to DB. This class we have already created for connecting with the database. Class shta or the class method they connect کनेक्ट میتھड دی دا موږ څه ریټرن کوي کنیکشن به ریټرن کوي هغه د لپاره موږ آبجیکټ جوړ کړی دی کون چې دې ته د اساین کا اوس دا بٹن دی د دې شاته موږ کوډینګ کوو موږ ورته وایي string SQL یا anything query anything query is equal to what query you want to create insert query هغه د لپاره د users table دی users table columns وګوره columns کم دي مونږ سره دی یو یوزر نیم دی او بل پاسورډ دی یوزر نیم او پاسورډ د query ما تاسو ویلي دی first execute the query when you want to include the query within your application program first check the query in the DBMS execute it over there if that is working then include your query the same query copy and paste the same query within your application program نو مونږ څه وایو چې insert into which table users table user name of the table is users and users table what are the columns username comma password and what are the values you want to insert so values you want to insert for example value is Abedullah comma password let's suppose 123 Abedullah is also text varchar so it must be included in single quote varchar by single quote can include let's execute the query to execute the query you can select the query or you can put the cursor within the query but if you have written many different queries that you insert query the bala query misal pe tor bani tasu likale da so she land yo bala query likale da select star from users اوس د دوه queries دلته زه execute کما نو اوس کوم یو به execute کیږي ټول به execute کیږي او تاسو که یو به execute کول غواړئ نو execute دلته اوس مالا error ملو شو سوي وی validation of primary key هغه دواړه queries execute کا دلته یو بل user name دغه کما user name دلته ما سره primary key دا primary key څه شي دا user name دا اما change کو عبدالله 1 ما کو execute دا select کم select में को execute this query one rows affected the query successfully run one row is affected let's see within the table select top 1000 rows so check whether yes both of the entries are there so the query is working correctly the query the copy kai and go to your application program include this query over here semicolon tinalarikai that's it is correct and it is working but we have to take these values password from the form from the user so it should not be static it should be dynamic query mga jodaka now we have to create the statement object for the statement object con dot prepare statement once remember memorize all these steps same steps will be repeated again and again query yes we have to execute the query with the statement object it will return a statement object so we will assign it query what is unreported exception we have to catch this exception with the try catch block after creating the statement object we have to set the question mark first we have to take the values for the question mark from the form and embed it into the query so pst.setString for the first question mark what value we want to take txt the first value akhlo username ke se user data enter ka password ke se data enter ka the value is the first value the first text field now txt underscore username username dot get text and pst dot set string for the second text field. We want to take its value from the password fields txt underscore password dot get text. Now we have integrated the text fields, the values from the text field into our query. Now we can execute the query using the PST prepare statement object PST dot execute query, and of course it will return what gora result set na kana pst dot execute update या execute query execute update the मूंग सर return बसी int तब integer value return कई जो सुमर रोज अफेक्ट हुई थी अगब रिटर्न कई 1 2 3 4 पुश अप खबर माने execute update and it will return what the number of rows that is inserted into the database. So integer I a value ma I ta insert ka. For example, if username already ne exist ki no the euro be insert kari so warta check comma if I equals to 1, if this is true then j option pane dot show message dialog and user is created. समझला ना J option pane cannot find symbol. It means we have to import the which class import java x dot string dot star. Now let's check it again. Yeah, it's clear. Let's execute this program. Connection is established. For example, password user is created. If we create this again, so we will get an error message violation of primary key violation key. The value is already there, so primary key value cannot be duplicate. सही ना कोई पे खबर है बानी हाँ नलबम नाखी of course okay, if you want to get this message, so instead of e describing this user already exists. Connection is established. Safiullah with username and password 123. Yes, user already exists. You can get this message on with a message box as well. I hope it is clear.